Hey, you amazing Bible Fellowship leaders. Remember, our mission is discipling one another to reach and raise the next generation to live out God's truth. Right now, you're looking at the next generation. I'm at youth camp here, and that is middle school recreation that is letting out, and they are having a great time. So we're talking about the next generation here. There's our middle schoolers leaving recreation, and I just want to talk to you just a minute as I'm leaving camp. I didn't get to stay this year, about reaching and raising the next generation to live out God's truth. We're defining the next generation as those that are aged 30 and under. That's people, these people's age all the way up to 30. Now, why is it so important that we reach them? Because the future is in the next generation. I was just reading my Bible just this week in the book of 1 Samuel, and it amazes me how God loves to use young people. He calls young people to do amazing things. In the book of 1 Samuel, there's young Samuel. He's 12 years old, and he hears the voice of God. Samuel, get up. And when he's hearing the voice of God, he goes to the high priest Eli, and he says, "Eli, did you call me?" And Eli said, "No, I didn't call you." So, of course, you know the story. He calls Samuel again. He says, "Eli, did you call me?" Eli says, "No, I didn't call you. I think the Lord's calling you, so you need to listen. Tell the Lord, say, 'Here I am, Lord. Speak to me.'" And so the third time Samuel hears from the Lord, he says, "Here I am, Lord. Speak to me." And so the Lord calls him and gives him a word as a prophet, this 12-year-old boy. And lots of times we romanticize that story when we tell it to children that God spoke to Samuel, but we leave off the next part, because what God told Samuel was very important. God told this 12-year-old boy, the message that he gave this 12-year-old boy was to tell the high priest of the land, Eli, who was like a father to him, tell the high priest of the land that God was going to utterly destroy his household because of his wickedness, because his sons were wicked. He was going to wipe Eli's household out. Now, how would you like to be a 12-year-old boy telling the high priest of the land that here's what God says is going to happen to your family? My point in this story is that God calls young people to do hard things. The future of Blackshear Place, the future of this country, the future of the church is in the hands of the next generation. We believe that Jeremiah was about 17 years old when God called him, and he said, "Lord, how can I do it?" God seems to love to call young people. So many scholars believe that many of the disciples that Jesus actually called were actually teenagers when he called them. So God loves to use young people. So I want to ask you this question. How are you and your class? You are an adult Bible fellowship teacher, leader. How are you investing in the next generation? How are you encouraging your class to invest in the next generation? Who are you mentoring? Who are you teaching? Who are you leading? Who that is younger than you are you encouraging? How are you serving in student ministry, in children's ministry, in preschool ministry? What are you doing for the kingdom in the next generation? Because we're all about discipling one another to reach and raise the next generation to live out God's truth. We believe we spend thousands of dollars every year as a church on vacation Bible school and camp because we believe the next generation is so valuable. But it's not just enough that we go to camp and do VBS. It's all year long. It's 365 days a year. It's investing in the next generation to see them saved so that they can bring God glory and continue the kingdom work that Jesus has called us to. So let's stop worrying about the fact that they're different or think they don't like us older people. Hey, you know what? I'm over age 30, so I'm talking about me investing in those that are younger than I am. Let me encourage you. Get out there. Let's start investing in the next generation. You guys are winners. Let's go make some disciples.